Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. I'm F-Tot. I got my boy Handyman here. We've got Eanix versus the Papis coming at you.
We do. Papis finally made it to the Pro League. The Spanish Giants are here. What can Warchi do? Up against an Eanix squad that has had a lot of changes.
Yes, Eanix sporting a new jungler and a new solo laner. And altogether, it should be a new look in general. We'll take a look at the picks and bans as we head into this one. The Papis, welcome to the Smite Pro League. I'm very excited to see how these guys do. They've got a ton of fans, but do they have the skill to back it up?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this one starts off. I'm expecting a lot of bans towards Osiris, Bellona, Fafnir. They're the sort of real top bans that we're seeing quite often. If they do get through, they will be picked up.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll take, there's the Fafnir, the Osiris, Bellona. We got a lot of standard bans these days. The Susano, in my world, is a standard ban. The Robin is one of those top picks that can sometimes sneak through. I expect to see a Bellona here.
Yeah, I think Bellona could be first picked, although we have seen a little bit of Terra now and again, I was about to say, because Terra's been pretty good overall. The ultimate is just so game-changing in terms of the extra mobility, the sustain it will give back to the team as well, give them an extra chance to escape or engage from distance.
The sustain is really what I like out of the Terra. It's small because it's a slow tick out of the big circle, but when it comes down to it, it winds up really being impactful. And the Bellona, well, she's just too damn strong.
Ducky's going to be happy with that, though. His first game playing for Eanix on this squad after joining from Lion Guard.
Yeah.
Now he finds himself in a spot with Eanix where this roster feels like it's improvements overall with this squad, looking to try and make it to a top spot in Valencia.
Eanix have two new players, and those are the two players they're going to pick for first. Bellona for Ducky, like you said, and Serqet, like I'm about to say, for Faeles. Faeles is a guy that did very well on elevating. He kind of reminds me of Walrus to a certain extent, where he plays one season for a really lower-end team and does really well, and makes him and himself, him and the team, look better.
Yeah.
And now he jumps up to a higher-seeded team on Serqet. Eanix is hoping that Faeles runs this game.
That's a big thing for Eanix, though, is the start of the season is who's going to be the shot caller on this team now. Right. They've had a couple of changes. You know, Lawbster's generally quiet in the mid lane. He is a talker, but he's not going to be a leader on the comms. He's going to sit there, do his job. Funballer, he likes to lead this team as well, but from a Haunter position, you can't really do that all the time. You got to wait till later on in the game for that to happen.
Yeah, Faeles is going to be, people are going to look to Faeles to really be that person, and it's interesting. I think that Faeles is the kind of guy that will do it if necessary, but doesn't have to be the leader, which is almost always when you find the best leaders. So I'm really excited to see how Faeles really comes into himself here. Lawbster going to be playing the Poseidon on the side of Eanix.
Great pick.
The Papis finish up their first half. Terra, Vulcan, Awilix.
Great pick for Poseidon, though, coming out from Lawbster, just because Terra, Vulcan, and Awilix all suffer from the cripple effect. Can't backfire as Vulcan. If you're stuck in the cripple, Terra can't dash through the walls again, and Awilix can't jump away on Suku as once she would like to try and give herself the survivability.
Poseidon also not only shutting down the backfire of the Vulcan, but can also put the Whirlpool down and kill the wave and the turret a lot of the time, depending on where Vulcan's going to go.
Just about position of the turret there more often than not with that one. Although Awilix and Vulcan will have a little bit of a better wave clear in the early game if Serqet and Poseidon do meet them in that mid wave, just because Poseidon, Serqet, obviously her early clear isn't the greatest, and if she does use the Deathbane to get through the minion wave, she can put herself in a bit of an awkward position.
I wouldn't mind seeing Serqet go into an alternative lane instead of just to begin the middle lane, and see Poseidon just start out with the Whirlpool and sit on his tower, but I'm not sure if we're gonna see that level of
You never know,
play.
because right now you don't know where the jungle is going to start. Is it going to be solo lane? Is it going to be mid? Will the supports join in the mid lane instead? Will it be a 3-man mid lane? Will it be a 2-2? And the Hunter left alone? A lot of variations. I will say, though, that Eanix won't be really scared to leave Funball on his own in that lane, and with an Ares pick, it might be that situation.
Exactly. Ares is interesting. Very aggressive pick here for Eanix. The Papis finish things off with a Cupid Sobek lane, one of the classic kill lanes in Smite. The Papis make their SPL debut against Eanix. Let's get to it in our summer split, starting game number 2. Terra should be interesting. I think we're going to see that in the solo lane. No big deal. Wow, stop me.
No.
Draco's going to be playing the Terra, and we have a solo Sobek.
I think it's a little bit better to put Sobek in that solo lane, cancel out the bludgeon, slow down Ducky's clear a little bit. At the same time, as if Faeles does come over to gank that lane, if Terra's there, the anti-heal from her ultimate will stop Terra's survivability a little bit more, whereas Sobek, lurking in the waters, is always one of the greatest of escapes.
I feel you. The Cupid Sobek lane is so devastating. You toss somebody into the ultimate or somebody into the you toss somebody back into the ultimate after they've already traveled out of it, or I mean the Cupid heart bombs. Either way, it's a classic lane. I like to see it, but Creed is going to start on the left side. You can see 3 players grouping up here.
Yeah, Creed's looking for a play in mid early on. He's got the teleport. We've seen this a couple of times coming out from Sobek, and some of these laners that know they're not going to get the first wave push, so they try and gank mid, and right now, Dheylo's going in.
Yeah, Lawbster's going to get hit for a little bit. One more shot will do it, but he's safely under the tower.
Lawbster's beads was very, very early there, but those beads stop the stun animation that comes out from Awilix's Feather Step. It's not actually a stun, but it does root you in place. If he was stuck in place there, one more auto would have been enough to bring him down. The bead saved his life. Good play,
and
Lawbster.
the tail whip coming out from Creed as well. If Creed or Dheylo get control of that, then we see first blood. Dracomarino takes a ton of damage on the left-hand side. Warchi gets aggressive, and I like the play. BigManTingz down about half HP, and the heart bomb on Funballer intelligently avoids the wave, but hits his support in the process.
That was a good little play from Warchi there. Recognized he had a full minion wave with him, and if Eanix wanted to try and box him in a 2v1 scenario after he dashed in, he had a full minion wave backing him up, but now he's too far forward, and 2 chains means beads has to be used to get him back to the safety of the tower.
True. Warchi has to back off right there, unfortunately for him. He does have the sustain built into the Cupid, which is a positive. Only 1 health pot left for the Hunter. And he'll have to lean on those beams to really heal himself up.
And that share the love is just so useful for you, especially now that because the passive doesn't get consumed when you pop that, it makes it so much more survivable for Warchi in lane to keep dropping max level hearts down for himself and his support. But they're still being out-pressured in this lane. Luckily enough, Ojoboom's on the rotation.
I like the rotation at Ojoboom over here. He's going to try to trap the duo lane as they come in and take the little guys out of the purple buff. Not really intending on trying to find the buff, just the XP for the little guys. And BMT and Funball kind of have decent control of this lane. BigManTingz makes a rookie mistake and walks into the heart bomb.
A lot of respect coming out from Eanix here. Papis are actually showing that they've been together for a while, and you can see that with the rotations coming out so quickly from Ojoboom to support the duo lane. No one's really been out of position so far, the early gank pressure. Papis have started things off very, very well here, and Eanix is showing them the respect they deserve now, because they're like, okay, this isn't going to be a run over because it's a Challenger Circuit team that's just come up. This is a team that's here to play.
And make no bones about it, the core of this squad has been playing together for a long time. They replaced 2 members, and I think that's what allowed them to make that rush through the Challenger scene into the pro scene. They needed to just replace a couple of that members of the roster, but the core here, they're used to this level of play.
Trap in mid, and the trap is succeeded. Lawbster's dead. They were just hanging at the corner there, Ojoboom and Dheylo, waiting for the rotation from Lawbster to come back to mid, and they pick him up for first blood. The Papis are off and at the races.
Funball here, going to take half HP. Nice dash forward from Draco, controlling the Hunter. There's going to be Warchi's ultimate. Funball doesn't get out, and hey, look, it's Dheylo from the jungle, jumping on top, looking for the fence step. 1-2, there's the flip, and one more basic will do it. That's 2 kills for the Papis. Make that 3. Oh, boom goes boom, and trip skis for Papis in general.
Gold Fury here could be a possibility, but Lawbster being back in the mid lane with a Kraken may deny the Papis looking to engage on that. They're going to throw the ult to mid instead. I think he was looking for a big highlight reel play. Clear the wave at the same time, though, because he wanted to base. So.
Yeah, that's what he was going for. The old,
definitely.
The old Hercules ult the wave.
If you can hit that as well onto Lawbster, you're having a great day.
Oh, wow. Well, they're having a good day so far, even without hitting them. Over almost 1,000 gold in the lead, just from 3 raw kills.
Well, the first blood does give you that extra bonus gold more often than not. I like the fact Ojoboom here started off going for the Doom Orb. He's rushed that very quickly after picking up some kills for himself. Means he can get these stacks online. It increases the amount of damage the mages will do in the early game, which is something that most mages kind of struggle with, is the burst potential early on. This does help that.
And it also provides some sustain by way of mana as well. I really love the Doom Orb pick, and the casual mindset is, well, if you die once or twice, it's not worth it.
Which is true.
Which is not true, actually.
You reckon?
All you need is about 10, 15 stacks for that to be worth... money-wise, the same as a different item after you picked it up. So, if you're 0-20, maybe you got to sell it. But I have for a long time. You buy the Doom Orb, and as long as you're able to maintain a handful of stacks, which you should be, you're fine.
Well, it's one of those things of you do want to have to stack again. And after every death, do you really want to have someone stacking to make sure they're getting full use of their item?
Sure.
Or would you rather have an item like Toth or Warlock Sash, where the stacks are permanent and will allow you to just have that damage through the game?
You bring up Warlock Sash. Listen, I might have to restack my Doom Orb. I'm stacking Warlock Sash till the cows come home. Okay?
You are. I mean, hide of the urchin. If you don't have a great kill hungry game, you're still stacking them in your next game still, hoping to just find enough.
Taking a look at Ducky for the first time all day here in the solo lane. Ducky and Faeles, the two new members.
There you go.
Trying to make the play on a Creed. They
and
force
that's
out
why
the
you
ult.
put Sobek there, because the moment he feels threatened, dive in those waters, and notice that Dracomarino as well on that Terra ulted as well, just in case the trouble really did kick off.
Yeah, that's one of the nice things about Terra is she's able to help the team out from so far away, right? You know, when you think about the other globals in the game, they're usually Athena or Apollo. You're able to help the team out, but not instant. Athena does come through with the damage reduction instantly, so that's kind of nice. But the way that Terra works, very different.
Well, I feel like Athena and Terra are the closest to each other with those globals because they're both on the defensive side in one way or another. The difference being is that, you know, you can get there with Athena, body block, taunt, maybe turn a kill around.
But you're still waiting a couple of seconds.
But you are still waiting a couple of seconds. Dracomarino, yeah, he's going to give you a heal after a couple of seconds if you take enough damage. And sometimes you're going to be taking more than you want to.
Yeah, Terra just pushes that button right away, ready to go, just like Warchi and Funballer. Taking the fight to each other.
A little bit of a warm-up for both those hunters there. I saw a lot of missed autos between the two of them. I'm not sure if I want to blame them both missing or the juke boots of both of them instead, just to avoid the others incoming damage.
BigManTingz, Faeles, and Funballer grouping up here on the left side. And just to clear out the jungle. Faeles right now, he's got to find his spot. Wow. Dheylo has been really setting the pace of this game, and Dheylo might be walking in the wrong spot, Hindu.
I actually think that engage from Warchi might have just saved Dheylo's life, because here's the reinforcements now for Eanix, and the Papis are on the run.
There's a whole team fight, however. Nice pull, and BigManTingz in trouble. He's going to go down. Warchi gets credit for it. Lawbster drops out the ultimate, just brings down Warchi and Draco to about 60%.
Tell you, if Warchi did not drop the ultimate there onto Funballer at that exact time, Dheylo was about to walk around the corner into a trap from Eanix. And it's so funny how those small things, nobody knew that until it happened. But Warchi inadvertently saved his jungler's life and ended up getting Papis another kill.
Yeah, out of nowhere. 4-0. The Papis, the brand new team to the SPL, above Eanix, the squad that almost went all the way in the spring split.
To be fair, when we first saw the likes of Elevate back in the day when they first arrived on the scene with the likes of Mogao, everyone was like, oh, here's another Challenger Circuit team.
Sure.
And they split games early on. They did a lot better than everyone expected to. Papis are following in those footsteps right now. And this Gold Fury going down, Faeles won't be here in time, I don't think.
Nope.
This lead is starting to grow and grow.
Yeah, this is a nice 1,500 gold lead. Certainly something that Eanix can fight into. But something they do have to be worried about is that Ojoboom is going to look a lot better in the late game than Lawbster's Poseidon. I guess the offset there is the Rama versus the Cupid, right? Rama works better in the late game, so you got a little, you know, one on the other side.
They have got a bit better in terms of engagements for the Papis, though. With that Cupid Fields of Love, I feel like it's going to be quite useful for them, as well as a Sobek and a Terra that can also engage with an Awilix on top of that. Although Eanix, they have a fair amount of cripple in this composition.
Yes, and that's going to really shut down a lot of stuff. And on the other side, I really like the interaction of Dheylo and Faeles here. Dheylo is going to be able to pull Faeles out of the ambush and a lot of nonsense. And Dheylo's going to cause some nonsense himself, finding the feather stab and waste the knockup. But there's a knockup by the Sobek. Ducky into the tower.
In place.
And it's just a matter of time here to jump forward. But here comes help from Lawbster all the way from the mid lane. Still alive is Dheylo, and
how's he alive?
Ducky. Dheylo's trying to make it happen. Creed finally puts him down. And the rotation not good enough. Eanix still losing the fight.
Warchi though on the left-hand side. Now he's 2v1, all in by Faeles, straight towards Funballer, trying to box out with Funballer, but the first Spaniard will fall down in the Pro League for the Papis, as Lawbster claims another with iCreeDx dying in the solo lane.
Really good play by Lawbster there to go ahead and sort of mitigate the wounds that the Papis have put onto Eanix, or Eanix.
He's not playing Hercules.
You know what's funny?
Mitigate wounds.
You know what's funny? I thought, since I said mitigate wounds, I thought about Hercules. And me and Eanix have talked about Hercules a lot, so I called Eanix Eanix.
The new team.
The mind of the caster.
Maybe that is Eanix's team. We just don't know that.
Oh my goodness.
Imagine if that was the case.
Playing in 2 different regions.
Gets to World Championships, not even playing, and just turns up on the stage like, I am this team.
Trivia.
Here we go.
What SPL player has played in a different region before the rules were set in place?
Pain to Beyond.
Yes. Dingo. Bing, bing, bing.
Dingo, did you just say? You were going to say bingo.
Bingo and ding, ding, ding. I said dingo, bing, bing, bing.
That's correct.
Google, Google, Google. Basically, now we have rules that you have to live in the region in order to play there. So you got to live in North America to play in NA. Once upon a time, we didn't have that. And Pain of Beyond played in a different region, as did Aurora, actually. Aurora and Funball played together once upon a time.
That is true. Aurora did end up on that side as well for a little bit of a while, across the pond. Now I'm across this side. Maybe I should retire as a cast and become pro, because then NA might win games, right?
I mean, it's
possible. To
have
an EU import. It's the future, right? Just import the EU guys and you'll win games.
I mean, who knows, man? Oh, you hear that jump?
I did, but I don't see the jump. I do now.
Oh, I see the middle lane, however.
Trouble, but the Kraken and the ultimate of the Earthshaker coming out at the same time kind of just made that a wash of a fight, really.
Yeah, just nothing happened. A lot of noise, but nothing happened. Kind of like, I'll save that one for after hours.
Save it for later.
5-2 here, and Creed starting problems of his own, surrounded by 4 players in Eanix jerseys. He's still going forward, though. He's going the wrong way.
Don't know about that commitment coming out from Creed, because now he's going to pay with his life. He was on his own, just charging in. I mean, Dracomarino popped the ultimate. I think he was a little bit worried about Creed being out of position. Creed had his ultimate, but I think Creed had a miscommunication over there. Thought that was a go sign with the Terra ult coming through to commit to the fight, and the rest of the team's like, bro, I'm nowhere near you. I can't get there in time.
If Ojoboom, so that nonsense that we saw in the mid lane where nothing happened, if that doesn't go down and Ojoboom has an ultimate, then that commitment seems a lot less curious to me. I think Creed expected his Vulcan to have an ultimate. Yep. He wanted to just like go in and Sobek a bit, right? Just, hey, everybody, look at me, and then 4 people get hit by an Ojoboom ultimate, and they all just like laugh their way to the bank.
It's that thing when you're playing a Guardian and you're playing a frontliner is that you overcommit sometimes. You just get the iron sights on of just wanting to hit the target every single time and not realizing the bigger picture of like, well, I'm really far forward, no one's behind me right now, I'm completely out of position.
Yeah, I call it solo syndrome. Sometimes you think that you're just permanently Hulk Hogan.
Well, when you play Hercules, you kind of are. Right? Like, that's the same sort of thing.
Osiris, yeah, I mean, Osiris has that way. To be fair, my man Sobek,
he's not far off.
He's a crocodile.
He's not far. I mean, Creed made a small mistake there. He's actually bought Eanix quite a bit of a window here to even the game up now. And it's actually, the game could be turned on its head with the double cripple of the Ares and the Poseidon. They've got to be careful.
Yeah, Faeles going to come in from the front, and around the back comes Lawbster and BigManTingz, cracking on top of Ojoboom. Chains are good. Chains are great. Ojoboom goes down to the hand of BMT, and it's 5-4. The Papis had a lead, and they've squandered it. Eanix, tie game.
Credit where it's due to Ojoboom there for the survivability that he brought out with his relic usage. He avoided a lot of damage there. Lobsters, though, Kraken was beautifully on point, especially when Faeles threw him from his ultimate in the wrong direction, but he still nailed the Kraken on his head. If he didn't get that Kraken connected directly, he wouldn't have been knocked up, meaning Ojoboom would have lived.
And that's why you can put new players next to players like Lawbster and Funball, because they're going to hit their stuff. Funball's going to hit the snipes. If you push the player in the wrong direction, Funball's still going to hit it. And that's the same thing to be said about Lawbster. Obviously not BigManTingz. Misses the chains on what was certainly to be a kill.
I do like the group up from Eanix now, realizing that with this combination of a Poseidon, an Ares, and a Serqet, it's trouble for anyone who walks into those 3 of them. The amount of control they have, the escapability of Lawbster, to be fair, with the Trident, as well as Serqet. Don't worry so much about Ares. He's just going to be bolstering his defenses and helping out the whole squad while surviving himself.
And that's one of the things that I really like about Eanix here in general is their attention to the game that they're playing specifically. When I say the game, I don't mean Smite in general. I mean the game that they're playing right now. Faeles, Lawbster, and BigManTingz, those are early mid game, right? You want to break the game into 3 different sections, early, mid, and late, and then those 3 sections can be broken down into 3 further sections. The early part of the mid game is when Faeles, Lawbster, and BigManTingz are going to be most devastating. 11 minutes, no surprise, that's where we see them grouped up as first. About 9 minutes in the jungle, they do it again. I expect to see this a couple more times before they themselves go for a Gold Fury, just like the Papis did earlier.
So what we've learned from the Papis so far in their first Pro League debut is their early game is pretty strong. They like their rotation rotations early, very good at finding picks early on and aggressing in the right situations. The problem is that when they get that lead, they're not able to capitalize it and just continue the choke pressure of the match.
Right.
And instead, they kind of release their grip. And when that grip's released, it's just allowing their opposition back in. This is just from game one. We'll see if this develops as the season progresses with them and going into game two.
Yeah, and to go with that strategy, I need to see them wrap around in the late game and provide that same punch. I don't mind it if you sort of let go of the gas because you realize that Eanix is going to be a little faster in this part of the game. And understanding your enemy's strengths is just as important as understanding your own strengths. So if they flex during the early game and then let Eanix sort of run the mid game and then come back late game with the power of the Sobek and more importantly the mid lane Vulcan, I think I'll be really happy, and I would love to see that out of the Papis.
How much can we just see gold in hand for a second? I need to know how much Warchi has in his inventory right now. 775. He's working towards either the Executioner or the Chins here. And this is a major power spike for the Papis, and I think that's one of the reasons they've kind of slowed things down from their angle.
Sure.
Is they'd like to go for that second Gold Fury after getting the first, but they need to make sure they've got that power spike coming out from Warchi to deal that extra damage in the next team fight.
At the same time, Warchi in the next team fight is going to do more damage by way of his abilities, so now it would be fine to fight. The Executioner is just going to be the sustained damage. Ojoboom's beads are gone. That's a win. BMT goes for it. Love the play. Funball in the sky, just dialing it down. Ojoboom, 20%, and he's gone thanks to BigManTingz. Trouble continues as Eanix trying to find a way out, but Creed stops in the middle.
Now, Lawbster's under pressure here. Creed should be able to find the detonation of this, but the Aegis time will cancel Creed from committing there. He's forced back. The second chain from Big Man won't connect, allowing him to escape, but it did allow Eanix to find the pick onto Ojoboom and secure the
Warchi by himself, Faeles sees it on the ward, misses the Cobra's kiss, though.
And now with the man advantage, Eanix recognizing this, they're going to try and commit to this Gold Fury. Most ultimates are down. The most dangerous one to them is Ojoboom on the Vulcan, but with him being dead now, they're trying to fall back, Eanix, because Creed's in trouble.
This is way too familiar of a scene to see Creed walk into 4 different players. He gets chased down by Ducky. Fight spilling into the mid lane over here. BigManTingz and Funball trying to save themselves while Dracomarino taking shots by 4 players and a tower. See you later. Lucky number 7 for Eanix. That's going to put him up 1,000 gold.
So what I probably would have liked to see now the Papis there, instead of trying to contest the Gold Fury 4v5 after being in an awkward position, they could have gone towards the Portal Demon and tried to cause attention there, farm their own jungle, push the lanes out. I almost feel like surrendering that Gold Fury in that state would have been a better idea, especially if you're not going to be grouped up. Because they all split apart there, Papis. They all went on their own little wander, trying to support and defend the Gold Fury, and that caused them to get picked apart.
You know, Hindu, I still like what I'm seeing out of the Papis.
Oh, sure.
And I'll tell you why. Because when you're playing, you have to keep in mind that these guys have played in the challenger scene, not just this past split, but for a long time. They have their strategies, and there's a meta. Warchi.
I'm just watching this, because he's sat in a ward right now.
Yeah,
We all saw it, and Big Man's just waiting here. Warchi's just waiting like...
Warchi doesn't know.
He
gets him through the rock. That's 2.
Third one, no.
Just walk away.
The reason
because
he walks
Draco's
away,
there.
yeah, Funballer noticed around the corner and warned Big Man what was going on.
Yep.
The walls will miss as well coming out from Draco, so it's defense as usual.
So the point I'm trying to drive home is that the Papis meta is much about all the variables. Skill level is also a variable in the meta. So when you look at the challenger scene, the Papis can get away with things that they can't get away with here. That defense on the Gold Fury, they could probably get away with at a lower level of skill versus their other previous opponents. But Eanix are going to punish them for being so spread out and individualized. Creed can't dive 1v3 and wait for his team the way he could previously. Looking at how well the Papis have done in the challenger scene, I think that they can grow from here. Those bad habits will be eradicated out as they spend more weeks in the Pro League, and I'm very eager to see how well they grow.
Now, we've not mentioned one thing so far, but we do see 2 Stone of Gaia's on the side of the Papis right now, and 1 for Ducky and the Bellona. Stone of Gaia does cancel out the Ares ultimate, so if you actually do get pulled by Ares, it will cancel that. So that's one of the reasons we're seeing this being invested into a little bit more earlier on. Gives him a bit more survivability, especially for Sobek, who's going to try and use the Lurk in the Waters. Doesn't want to have to use it for Ares ult every single time if he can help it. However, Warchi's in trouble again. Great ultimate from Faeles to deny some of that damage to the Cupid. Baller from the sky will secure 2 out of 3.
Oh man, watching him, Funball has been hot or cold historically, and when he's hot, he's really hot. And this spring, Funball looked really, really good. And I mean, if this is the way he's going to make an impact in his first game, he's low on the damage charts, but all of that damage has been very relevant. He's 2-1-4.
Funballer's been one of those characters though that has always been on teams and been consistent on those teams. The problem is that he's been overshadowed by his teammates a lot of the time. Most of them getting the attention over him in terms of the highlight reel plays.
Do you think that has sort of stunted his growth?
Possibly a little bit, but at the same time, it's about his mental attitude towards that as well. Can he upplay the situation there? Can he actually get himself in the mindset of like, listen, I'm going underlooked right now, maybe I need to perform better, or maybe I just keep doing what I'm doing because it's the right thing to do. Now that he's lost some of those big name players, wait a second!
Oh my goodness, the zigzag and the big bang out of the Kraken. Ojoboom gets deleted, and Draco's lucky he's a support because he would have been gone too if he wasn't that tanky. Oh, wow, what a play.
Look at mid lane. Look where Ducky is now. Ducky's rotating all the way around the back between Tier 1 and Tier 2 tower just to make sure he can flank all the way back here. But that was a situation with those deaths again from the Papis where they're split. Yeah. They've got Warchi on the left, you've got 2 in the middle lane. Nobody else was really about. And if you get caught with just 2 versus 3 or 4, it's going to be a bad time.
And that's what I was saying. The Papis are all individually very gifted, and they could just individually stomp out the challenger competition. On the Pro League stage, they're not going to be able to do that, and they're going to have to play more as a unit, which I think is possible. I would totally rash them if I thought that they were just kind of floating on individual skill, but what we've seen already from what they have pre-prepared, I think that they can definitely change their style.
There's definitely places for Papis to grow and improve, but they're looking pretty solid from my point of view right now up against Eanix. Can we just see wards placed so far in this game? Because one thing I've noticed in this game, for 21 minutes, this is a hell of a lot of wards. The map is like a Christmas tree consistently, and it's Eanix that have been leading the way, but just look at the inventory of the Papis right now. They're trying to answer that back. They've realized they don't have enough control. These are all the wards Eanix are placing early on. I mean, 3 players with 988 wards on the side of Eanix, that's a lot of ward coverage. They're really focused heavily on trying to control the whole map with vision.
And that's where the culture, so when it comes down to Eanix and that split that was so very important, Lawbster, Funballer, and then previously Dheylo, now Ducky, right? They split from Cuvo and Trixtank. Lawbster has always talked about ward vision. And no disrespect to Cuvo Fred, that's kind of wasn't his #1 priority.
Oh, Dheylo's #1 priority now is running the hell away if he can. Jumps over the wall, leaves Dracomarino on his own, but it is a Terra, so he will get back to safety.
That was funny. It was the unintentional non-juke. If he continues running straight, he gets in trouble. But he stops and stands still. Now, he's trying to jump over the wall. He didn't actually plan on standing still. Listen, but standing still helped him.
Give him the credit, right? Like, that's what I always do. Give the players the credit just in case. Nice little pull from Dheylo off the meatball coming out from Ojo, but Funballer's reaction was on point.
See, that I'll give him the credit for. He wasn't even looking in that direction, had to turn around.
Watch Faeles. This tower is at less than half health, with Ducky now rotating too. Papis need to realize there's a gank coming. Creed should spot this out around the corner. They still don't know where Faeles is right now. 4 members versus 5 in mid. Creed now on the way.
And I love how Faeles is being so patient. He could have jumped in a number of times, but he's waiting. Doesn't even need to be found. Finds the Sobek in the jungle, hits him with a zigzag after the Cobra's kiss. There's the jump on top, and there's the kill. Double digits for Eanix as they take down the Tier 1 tower here in the mid lane. 500 gold to the pocket, 23 minutes in.
So both the solo laners in that engagement went a little bit too far forward. Creed got picked off by 4. Meanwhile, you saw Ducky engage onto 3, but the 3 were panicking about the all-in potential of the squad, so they backed away. They could have committed onto Ducky there and killed him in response. Would have been a 1-for-1 solo or trade, but in the end, Paul Demon goes away with Eanix. Papis answer back the Tier 1 tower.
I like that the Papis go ahead and grab that tower. Will they have to pay for it? It's a different story. Didn't look like it at first until Ducky joins the party, cracking on top of Draco, and Funball's collecting that one. 3-1-5 for the UK Hunter.
Oh, BigManTingz with the blink into pull, and Ojoboom on a wild ride that he didn't really want to go on. The meatball might have bought him a second, but the in-hand damage from Funballer will get credit for the kill again.
I wish I could. That's where you hit. That's where when you're playing that character, you just hit Y, and you go, who hit me that hard? He lost 50% of his HP in 1 shot.
Yeah, really good work. Wow. Coming out now from Eanix, starting to put the pressure on, and all those 5 kills, for all intents and purposes, were in the early game from the Papis. That's where the lead was. Everyone was saying that if you get a lead in the early game, the game should be done. There's no real combat potential. People were saying the snowball is too strong. Well, Eanix is showing they can turn that around if you know what you're doing.
So I usually... itemization in Smite is generally standard, right? I want to bring up this Crusher. on the side of Funball. Very interesting, because I like the Crusher on a lot of hunters, and Ram is not the hunter that I would think about. In fact, I would expect to see it on Cupid, on virtually every other hunter. But Ram, basically the Crusher it's going to give you some good stats, attack speed, etc. But after you use a basic, 1 second gets removed from your cooldowns. So Ram is all about the basics.
But the rollout, I think he's doing that for the rollout more than anything else. Not necessarily the ultimate,
sure,
but getting that on the rollout ability, getting that cooldown down on the rollout, makes it for more survivability, more engage potential as well. If you remember a while ago, Rama did get hurt with a nerf.
Yeah.
His rollout used to give him cooldown as he leveled it up. These days it doesn't, so it's at a higher level all the time. Having that 1 second off won't be a huge detriment. I'm more surprised by the Runeforged Hammer from the consistent slows that he's going to have this game as well. The damage build is interesting. It's basically all pen, but using the fact that everyone is always going to be CC'd to increase his damage output.
Exactly, and don't forget that Ram slows players himself with his Astral Arrows.
Exactly.
So, I mean, he's going to be able to, you know, eat off his own cooking.
His rollout as well also cripples.
Oh, yeah.
So that is another effect that will actually come into play for the Runeforged.
Oh, yeah.
Runeforged for days for everyone. We'll see as the time goes on. Although, Faeles coming out from Warchi this time round, so Faeles still not dead just yet, it seems. Warchi with a good little ultimate there, but he's still in trouble because the chain run, BigManTingz, will allow Lawbster to pick him up with a Whirlpool.
Warchi catches 2 players in the ultimate, but it's much ado about nothing.
And there's the issue for me, is that Warchi is a leader for the Papis, and Warchi's trying to be a leader while playing the Hunter role. My Hunter's too far. In my eyes, the Hunter should be the first one on the front lines. I've got a Sobek, I've got a Terra. They should be the frontline troops that are checking and checking for the vision. Not a Cupid. Yeah, Cupid's got that engaged, but if your Hunter dies, your damage potential drastically reduces.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's a lot of the damage in team fights specifically as well. Don't forget that. Funball just going to walk right in and take care of this tower. The pure pen build, also, just as a side note, very efficient at killing towers versus some of the more popular builds we've seen lately, a la Crit.
Yeah, I mean, Crit's great for the 1v1 potential of bringing down big tanky targets. Oh, not necessarily big tanky targets, but squishies, I guess, more often than not.
The chin size is the one to take care of the tanky targets.
With the penetration as well, because the penetration breaks through that armor. But the focus of the Crit is like, you're a squishy, you're an assassin, I'll two-shot you. You're a mage, I'll two-shot you. You're another hunter, I'll two-shot you. That's the whole idea behind it.
So one of the nice things that I like about the Crusher, I brought up the passive. At the end of the day, this item is purchased just because of the stats.
It's good value.
It's in that pen tree, but also provides you the attack speed. And although he does have the Ichaival and the Executioner, it's just going to bring his attack speed up even more so. And he can lean on the damage provided by the 15% via the Runeforge instead of just building the pure power.
For those keeping track at home today,
very intricate build.
This is 3 Blinks versus 3 Sunders. I repeat, Sunder OP, but we still have 3 Blinks to match those in this game so far. And Beads is still more OP than all because everybody still pretty much has those.
You need Beads.
You have to.
You gotta buy
It's a requirement.
Beads. Here's trouble for Warchi as Ducky by himself is coming into 3 players. Right side, keep an eye on Lawbster. He's going to look for the flank via Funball. 3 players in blue pushing up forward. That's the Papis, by the way. BigManTingz in trouble. Jumping forward is going to be Ducky. Lawbster takes out Warchi. BigManTingz does fall down, but it's after he does what he needs to do. Faeles takes out the support as well, and it's a 2-for-1. Jumping away is the jungler. Falling down is the mid lane on Papis, and it's a 3-for-1. Very well executed by Eanix.
So it wasn't that well executed by Eanix in my eyes.
Yes, it was.
Let me
liked
explain.
it.
BigManTingz should have been punished by the Papis there. He walked up to 3 of them. Wait. He walked up to 3 of them, didn't get poked a single bit, got his ultimate off, and then when they all realized that no one was getting pulled in, that's when they engaged on him. If they would have started hitting BigManTingz as he's trying to run in for this ultimate, all they had to do is poke him down a little bit more, commit before he gets his ultimate off, or defend the situation by chasing him down for the kill at the end. That's what sets up the Kraken and Eanix's reinitiation.
Right.
If they would have picked Tingz earlier, would have been a different story there. I think they've got to be a little bit careful, Eanix, going forward, because I don't think you can have that happen all the time. Because Tingz should have been half health.
See, for me, Eanix, they just play the pinata game. They toss their support out and go, all right, go punch him. And 3 people flank from the backside, and they just counter punch. So yeah, they traded BigManTingz. I don't think BMT expected to live there. I think Eanix tossed him to the fishes and said, we'll kill 3 of you.
And I'll agree with that. BigManTingz didn't maybe expect to live there, but he did live. Oh, a lot longer than he should have. Let's just put it that way. He should not have been alive that long. He could have died up potentially a lot earlier, and he wouldn't have put the Papis as out of position as they ended up being in that fight by chasing him after they found that the ultimate came on.
I suppose we could argue about a feather and a lottie ticket, but at the end of the day, it's 16-6. Eanix are up over 10,000 gold. They just picked up the Fire Giant. They just picked up the Portal Demon, and they're about to pick up the support player, Dracomarino in the Mariana Trench. We'll see you later.
And now in mid lane, there's only 3 assaulting 4. Papis are so scared about being too far forward that they just have to fall back behind the tier 2. It looks like they do want to try and put up a defense here, which I think is wise. If they can hold off losing some of these tier 2 towers a little bit longer, they've still got ways back into it with one good team fight. The longer the game goes, the better situation will be.
Oh, hey, bud.
But
BigManTingz goes right on in. Underneath the tower. Gets the big stun. Ducky smacks Warchi in the mouth. Big ol' hammer. 18 kills in total for Eanix. Ojoboom does what he can, Hindu. This tier 2 tower is clean and free. It's got a big old E on the front for Eanix.
And that should be a Phoenix as well, I believe, in the mid lane. And not just mid, it might be in the left too, because don't forget the Crusher and that full pen build on Funballer. He won't take seconds to shred through that Phoenix with a Fire Giant buff.
That was an awesome camera movement, because we see this mid exchange, then all of a sudden, oh, here's Funball. That surprised me a little bit. Right side Phoenix gonna go down too, nice and easy. Half hour of play here, Hindu Man. Eanix, do they back up or do they go forward?
I think they'll back first of all, wait for the fire minions. Might as well spend that extra gold you just got because there's no reason leaving it. Papis may try and venture out a little bit here and push the lanes for one more chance to give him some room.
Oh, keep an eye on that one. Map. You see that wood?
Excuse me?
Ward?
We're on, oh, I said wood. I was like, we're on broadcast, Tom, not now.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I gotta watch my accent, but you can do it all day. Because you're in the game. Warchi's playing the Hindu Man skin. I'm gonna get hit for that one, aren't I?
Really? That's the Hindu Man skin? Is that what we're going with?
It's actually the Scoob skin, but nobody knows Scoobs anymore.
I'd be fine with Bacchus or Kumbhakarna like being played right now. I'm like, yeah, that's more like me.
No, it's just like, oh, mate, please, I'm Hindu Man. Here I come down the lane. That's what he sounds like.
That's terrible.
That is a perfect Hindu Man. Who was that? Was that me or Hindu Man? It's like I hit the soundboard button.
Sounds closer to Reels than anyone.
Reels is the only
Rest in peace, Reels. We miss you just because you actually sound like Tom's impressions of English people.
Oh, mate, I'm Reels.
See? A bit more accurate.
Well, right now, Eanix got to find the accuracy here to just barrel down the mid lane. The Papis, they're 20K down, Hindu Man.
It's rough. This is a rough situation for them, but I don't mind them just waiting this one out. It's the first game of the Pro League 2. Work out what went right and wrong this game.
Yeah,
what
sure.
went right? Early game. That's what went right. What went wrong? We didn't throttle the neck of Eanix when we had that lead.
And real talk, I have seen teams 20K down means you got rashed, you got throttled.
Yeah.
I don't think that Papis got beat up that hard today.
Not at all. They might do in this fight though. Ting's gonna ult early on, most of it blocked out, but Rama in the sky gonna find the snipes with Faeles raining down as well. And now a bit of trouble there for Faeles at the moment as Creed gets credit for the kill, but he goes down to Ting's.
And that's gonna be trouble for the Papis. Faeles not needed for the kill onto the Titan, half HP on the final objective. The Papis doing a good job here playing defense, honestly. But unfortunately for them and their fans, I think game number 1 will be a wash. 7-20 in 32 minutes of regulation play. The Papis fall down in their first Pro League game by about 20,000 gold.
Now, I do want to talk about the ward coverage that came out in that game as well. That was pretty high. It was like people were buying a ward every 2 minutes.
Yeah, you were really excited about it.
And the reason I'm excited about it is because I feel like Eanix actually stepped up their ward coverage because they were behind early on.
Sure.
They realized they were getting picked at, oh, hello, I've got a message. Notifications are OP. I like that. I was like, oh, is that you having a brainwave?
Hindu Man needs a patch. That's what needs to happen.
I'm getting patched now, right?
You're getting patched.
Okay, but yeah, the wall coverage from them early on was so strong, so good because the fact they were behind, they were getting picked left, right, and center. The rotations from Dheylo were causing them so many issues. They bought more wards, covered the map, slowed it down, and then turned those picks in its head, and that's when Papis fell apart. Yeah,
it was really, like I said, I was impressed with the Papis early game. Obviously, I think you have to be, and then I liked. We mentioned it. I liked that they sort of relinquished control in the mid game because they knew they weren't going to win it. Sure. They knew that they can't win those team fights all out. They need to wait and sort of bake in the oven a little bit and get those characters online. And I said I liked it, but I would really like it if they come together in the end. And unfortunately for them, I mean, not like it's an easy task, but Eanix just kind of grabbed the mid game and ran away with it all the way to the late game. So
I would have liked from Papis from maybe game 2 to see a little bit less of the flavor. I know it sounds a bit weird to say that, because it feels like they've got a very high execution composition. You've got the Awilix that's got to go in there.
Okay.
The Vulcan has the same thing. Cupid has the same thing. I would have potentially liked just something that was really solid, that was always going to be consistent at every stage of the game, not something that's weak or strong early or mid game, just like a focal point that's just solid throughout.
I get it. I disagree. Let's